Good evening, welcome to our July meeting of the Arlington County Democratic Committee. Got an exciting program tonight. First meeting since the primary is over. So happy to have our full list of candidates. Big round of applause for Ghazala Hashmi and Jay Jones. Happy 4th of July weekend to all who celebrate. Be COVID safe if you're feeling a fever or any symptoms. Hopefully you're home watching us on Zoom. Or please social distance while you're here. Our slideshow, we're under a little construction for the next couple months. So they broke the connection that lowers the nice white screen. So bear with us in our presentation tonight. We'll do the best we can. Arlington County is an open and welcome community. All are welcome here. So thank everyone for joining us tonight. We've got a really good agenda. We've got a few announcements to make. We're going to have a presentation on the ADA anniversary. We're going to hear from our county board nominee, Takas Karantonis, campaigns and campaign now to really great program. And with that, let me welcome up Daniel Davis.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I'm Daniel Davis. I'm chair of Arlington Dems Disabilities Caucus, and I'm here to talk to you tonight about the 35th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. July 26th is the 35th anniversary of the ADA, and normally this is a time of considerable celebrations around town in DC. You may notice some less commemorations and activities, and unfortunately, that is not an accident. While historically the ADA has been a very bipartisan issue, disability rights has traditionally been a very bipartisan issue. The first President Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act, and Bob Dole was a major champion of it. John McCain was a major supporter of it. So traditionally, Republicans have been very supportive of it. But even during the first Trump administration, they made some show of being supportive of it. But this time around, not at all. This year, the celebration is very subdued because people with disabilities are facing many rollbacks and threats, and also because the Trump administration considers commemorations of this sort to be essentially advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so that's not something that they're particularly doing. So essentially, we're seeing a number of threats essentially facing people with disabilities right now. One of the first is the breakup of the Department of Education, which the Trump administration is pursuing, which poses a significant threat to special education, as well as to transition of youth with disabilities into colleges and employment. In fact, we have seen some grants for youth transition of youth with disabilities essentially cut, we think, because DOGE and others have conflated disability transition to higher education and employment with trans transition, and which is so there's that. Then the Trump DEI executive orders DOGE at the 2026 executive executive orders and the 26 budget cuts have led to efforts to block disability and accessibility research, targeting of federal workers in agencies advancing civil rights and serving people with disabilities due to reductions in force and agency reorganizations. The 2026 budget particularly hits within Health and Human Services, the Administration of Community Living, which serves older adults and people with disabilities, SAMHSA, which is the Mental Health Agency, and disability serving agencies in National Institutes of Health and CDC. Also, changes to the mission of the DOJ Civil Rights Division have also led large numbers of attorneys from the disability rights section to resign. And we're still expecting even more from the 2026 budget. And then, of course, we've got the Trump omnibus bill that is now being deliberated for the House that recently passed the Senate. Due to, I think, I would argue, a very cowardly vote by Lisa Murkowski. And essentially, the $1 trillion nearly in Medicaid cuts, which Republicans say is about waste, fraud, and abuse, really poses a major threat to home and community-based services for people and access to various rehabilitation therapies and optional services that people with disabilities count upon. So we are gravely worried about this. The disability community is really bracing for impact, and so as you can see, this is a very somber anniversary. Next slide. How can we support disability rights in this time of peril? This is, I think, a really important subject for us to consider as Arlington Democrats. And I would urge that we find ways to lead by example here in Arlington. Here's a few ideas I have towards that. One, and some of these also come from other members of the caucus. One is to prioritize funding for and enhance special education at Arlington Public Schools. A second one is to create opportunities for fired federal workers with disabilities by adopting a county ordinance to create a disability hiring preference, as is allowed by state statute. I have the code posted on the slide. It's Virginia Code Section 15.2/1509. Fairfax has adopted such an ordinance in 2022, and I would encourage Arlington to look at doing the same. Also, since DOJ is drastically cutting disability rights enforcement, we need to address accessibility here at home ourselves. Arlington's code office, I've received a number of complaints from caucus members, isn't prioritizing making sure new construction and new renovations meet accessibility code, which has meant that in places like Ballston, a Harris Teeter, the new Silver Diner have opened with inaccessible features that really are not compliant with federal or state code. It absolutely is the responsibility of the code office to enforce at least state code, if not federal code. And the state code for disability rights very much resembles the federal code. So there's really no excuse for the code office not to be doing this kind of enforcement. And we're not going to get help from DOJ to the extent we need it right now. So we have to lead at home. And then another ask that I'm going to have is we are going to be sending forward a resolution or a call to action commemorating this anniversary, and with some specific requests for for action next month, and I urge the adoption of that resolution. And then finally, I also urge us to campaign on our commitment to support disability rights. Yes, disability has been and should be a nonpartisan issue. Right now, the Republicans are not doing it justice, and we need to push them and set the example until and unless they start to join us. So thank you very much. And I'll throw it back.
Thank you, Daniel. And we do have a couple announcements coming up. Jesse, did you want to go first? We had our bylaws committee reconvene. Reconsider our amendment, and we'll let Jesse make an announcement.
Hi, everyone. For those who were here at last month's meeting, you may recall that we introduced a potential amendment after hearing feedback from the community and taking that into account. The original drafter met with steering, and we've decided to indefinitely postpone that amendment at this time. We really appreciate you all engaging on this issue. I want to remind you that we do have a reorg coming up next year. So if this is an issue that you really care about, or if there are ways that you would like to impact how RLDMS runs, I highly encourage you to get involved in this process. Talk to myself, Steve, or any other members of steering to learn about how you can do that. And I believe at this time we have a motion. Do we have a question?
We move to, what's it?
Indefinitely postpone it.
Indefinitely, it's going to be taken up in a holistic manner by next year's bylaw review process.
Correct. So this does not mean that the amendment will not potentially reemerge again. We will just not be discussing it for the remainder of this year.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank everyone.
Great. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Jensen. All right, we got a couple of good announcements, some slides. Really apologize about the slideshow. You're not going to be able to see it very well. When people see it at all. A little bit.
Check front with payment service.
Here is our.
Thanks for pausing. Let me give it a try.
So. All right, we're gonna get.
That is as small as I can make it.
Sam, how about that wall? Is that any bigger? It's a little farther away. Ooh, that's not too bad. All right, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Arlington Democrats were busy last weekend out in the 11th district, so I just wanted to give a shout out and congratulations to the 11th district Democrats for nominating James Walkinshaw to with his Jerry Connolly. Resounding win. I think he had 59% of the votes. So a number of Arlington Democrats were there. Our very own Tanya Talento was a head teller in this process. Bob Platt was a sergeant at arms. I know Fran Jackson was there. Brian Atkins was there. I was out there somewhere. And Arlington loaned their 3 ballot boxes to the process. So I really feel like we dug in and helped the 11 CV Dems in their moment of need. So congratulations to James. Next slide. All right, we've got some upcoming events, and I think I'm welcoming up Minwar to tell us about the barbecue.
Steve, hello, everybody. So I'm Minwar, I'm chair coordinator. We have 2 events, slides. On Saturday, July the 12th, brunch with a guest speaker, and we're gonna have our very own Dacus there from 12 to 1:30 at the Silver Liner. It's up and mobilized. You can sign up. And the idea is to have those every month instead of if you were here before when there was the second Saturday breakfast, so this is, instead of it, and, also coming up is, the barbecue potluck on Sunday, July the 20th, 6 o'clock. I'll be sending out, the exact address, it's in Bolton. I'll be sending out the exact address, a week before, and, there's gonna be a, Google form to sign up to bring the dish, so, to share. So hope to see you all there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, anyone. Let's see what we got next coming up. ROS, Tony, you wanna shut up this picnic? Sarah Rubicava.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yes, we have our upcoming Roosevelt Development Society picnic. For many of you, thank you for being members of ROS. We can show hands of who's a member of the Roosevelt Development Society. There we go. Big round of applause. This is our sustaining donors program. It's critically important to funding all the work that we do. And as a show of appreciation, we'll be doing the annual picnic. July 26th, we'll be at the home of Soraya Tapia Hadley. For those who attended last year, it will be at the same place. So please, if you're not a member, consider joining. You've got a flyer in your chair, a QR code where you can join. And if you join today, you will get a fantastic commemorative ROS pin. And if you're a member, approach me and you can pick up your pin. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Sarah. All right, next up, County Board nominee and our current chair, Takas Karen Tonak.
Thank you. Good evening, Democrats. I'm so happy to see you here. I'm so happy, not only because we won a primary, that's always an accomplishment. Many of you have been on our senator campaign, but I want to say again to all those who did vote for us and for vote for James, thank you for having a spirited dialogue, sometimes sharper and good, but it was a spirited one. It's a good thing that we have this dialogue start completely. But the most important reason that I'm so happy today is that I see the same faces that I saw the projects. So down at Freddy's, and we welcome Abby Sandberger, and Ghazala Hashmi, and J.D. Jones, the entire ticket that we have for Virginia. At the end of accounts, it is here where we decide the fate of this Commonwealth, and this time also partially and not unmistakably the future of our nation. Everybody's looking at us, and we have something to show. So everybody who's here. So thank you so much for that. And I cannot tell you, I cannot underscore enough how proud I am, and at the same time, what the sense of responsibility I have on my shoulders to represent you in this battle. Together with Mo Bryan, who's our school board candidate. It is true. It never has been more true than it is today that all politics are local, that we are, that the type of governments, the local governments we're fighting for is our last in this historic moment for the nation. You saw what happened yesterday. You saw what kind of a budget we're looking forward. You know something? 26,000 Arlingtonians are receiving Medicaid.
Okay. We're gonna hear from Tim shortly on the joint campaign report. We've got 8th District Chair Margot Horner with us today. Former School Board County Board Member Tanya Talento. Thank you guys for being here. Also, next Tuesday at noon, at Busboys and Poets. We've got the seniors lunch. You can, if you didn't get enough of tacos here today, you can show up at the seniors lunch and get more tacos on Tuesday at noon. And with that, I want to welcome up for some post-primary analysis, Sam Shirazi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me and all of us tonight. I know many of you probably seen me on social media. I also have to give a quick pitch. I have a podcast about the 2025 Virginia elections. It's called Federal Fallout. Search for Federal Fallout wherever you find your podcast. So I will go over the primary and the general election, what it's looking like, and in Arlington specifically. But before I get there, I just wanted to talk about why I spend so much time on elections. If you follow me on social media, you can tell I spend a lot of time thinking about elections. So we all know what's going on over the river in DC right now with the bill that they're trying to pass, and let's hope it doesn't pass, but realistically, I think it's not looking good. And the thing to keep in mind, this is passed through a process called reconciliation. So that means you only need 50 votes in the Senate, you only need a majority in the House. Anything passed through reconciliation can be repealed through reconciliation. And the Democrats, if they win the White House in 2028, Senate, the House, they can repeal this. And I know that sounds like a long way off, but that's how you got to start somewhere. You got to start today, and we're going to get there eventually. And in Virginia, we have the first elections, as you all know. The elections are a little over 4 months away. So that is the first opportunity to really change things. And I know it's difficult to think about 2028 and, you know, it starts here. Virginia did it in 2017 and that led to 2020. So I think it's important to think about this year in Virginia in the context of what's going to happen 4 years, 3.5 years. So if we go to the next slide. All right, I'll stop talking. I'll talk about Arlington. Don't want to go too much into the details about the primary. I mean, we all know what happened. I thought what was interesting, that's the map of the primary for Lieutenant Governor. Gazal Hashmi won Arlington, she also won statewide. The map's kind of interesting, it's like all over the place, it wasn't necessarily geographically concentrated. We can go to the next slide. That is the map for Attorney General. Jay Jones won Arlington and he won statewide. So I think maybe as Arlington goes, so goes the Commonwealth. And I think hopefully that will happen this November, because obviously Arlington is going to go blue and hopefully Virginia will go blue. Next slide, and this is a good sign. I looked at all the data, and if you think about what happened in 2021, we had a governor primary. There were 24,570 people who showed up. Last month for the lieutenant governor primary. This is lieutenant governor, not governor. We had more people show up last month in Arlington to vote. So I think that's a good sign. It shows people are engaged. They care about what's going on, they're following the politics. So let's try to build on that in November. And how do we do that? So next slide. So Arlington is very blue, as you all probably know. Generally it'll go, I'm guessing it'll go at least 3-1 for the Democrats this November. So the more votes in Arlington, the more votes for Democrats. So the goal for Arlington specifically is to just turn people out, because the more people you turn out, the more votes for Democrats in November. We can go to the next slide. This is actually one of my favorite maps of all time. And if you know me, you know I like looking at political maps. And not a lot of people know about this. This is a map of the turnout in the 2021 governor's election. And obviously that election didn't go our way. But if you look at, it's a little bit hard to tell where Arlington is, but that is generally where Arlington, and if you look at North Arlington, very high turnout. Some of those precincts in North Arlington, you had 70+% turnout. That's good. I'm sure those precincts are going to get 70+% turnout in November. I picked that little tiny precinct. Now the lines I think might have changed after redistricting, but generally that's South Arlington precinct. It had 38% turnout. So if you think about it, we have to focus on certain areas where the turnout is not gonna be as high, and the more you can bump up the turnout, the more there's gonna be Democrats voting in November. The two areas in Arlington we gotta focus on are the metro corridors, because that's where the young people live. They don't always know about elections, they don't know about voting. Virginia has same day registration. Even if they're not registered to vote, they can show up on election day, register to vote. So that's the metro corridors, Clarendon, Ballston, and then down Pentagon City. And then that precinct specifically is in South Arlington, along Columbia Pike. Those are more working class voters, don't always show up in these off-year elections. We need to get them out. So as much as, you know, we're doing a good job in North Arlington, those people vote, that's great. I'm sure they'll vote this year. We gotta also think about the people who don't always vote in these elections. Next slide, I think that's it from me. Yes, so one last thing I wanted to say before I sign off. So Arlington, if you can help in Arlington, definitely help get out the vote, tell your friends. Work on the metro corridors, work on the South Arlington areas. A little later, you'll hear from Rose about beyond Arlington. There's a lot of competitive House of Delegates seats in Virginia. A lot we can do to help those candidates. Obviously, our House of Delegates seats are all very safe blue. We want to get as big a win as possible in Arlington, but we also want to help those House of Delegates seats. So you'll hear from Rose about that, but I'm happy to talk to anyone about this stuff. You know, I can tell I love Virginia elections. Listen to the podcast, Federal Fallout, and yeah, thanks Steve for having me.
Thank you, Sam. Yep, run up the store in Arlington and help flip some of these other seats. Now for the campaign update, I'll bring up Deputy Chair Paul Ruiz.
All right, hello Arlington Democrats. This is weird. I'm up here with like a work zone over here and a crooked screen over here. So this is so very strange to be up here. It's also strange to see me. So the campaign this week, Juan is off at a retreat. So they're off strategizing for the rest of the fall campaign. So you get me, sorry, so I'm gonna be reading talking points. I was here last month and I talked about the big beautiful bill that many of you probably have been seeing that in the news. And many of you are probably outraged. Significant cuts to Medicaid, SNAP benefits, workers assistance, Medicaid and Medicare, clean energy, environmental programs, things that we all care deeply about. And what does it do? It rewards incredibly rich people and takes away from the people who have the least in our society. So when I'm thinking about the things that I'm out knocking on doors and making calls for, this is it. This is that moment. That's the inspiration that I'm out there working for. So I'm going to read you some impressive numbers. And my hope is as I read this to you, you're thinking, how is it that I'm going to commit in this campaign? What is it that I'm going to do? It's channeling that anger and that frustration into something that is going to be productive and transformative. And that change starts right here in this Commonwealth. So we now have a ticket and a wonderful ticket. Take a look at this ticket. This ticket, this is an unbelievable, so this is a phenomenal ticket right here. And I am so proud that that ticket is going to stand with these five guys locally and gals. They're absolutely wonderful, and I'm so proud that on the doors, we're going to be representing them in this campaign. So let me just read you some stats as we're moving forward here. Here is what the campaign fed to me about their phase 2 update. They did 49 stops on that bus tour across the Commonwealth, 1,700 miles they traveled. Their volunteer leaders ran their own canvas launches. Their weekends of actions on the 14th and 15th, 1,500 doors, 2,000 people that they've engaged with. And the number of doors that they've knocked in Arlington since April is 7,600, and 9,800 people have been canvassed. And I can tell you that for every single person here that commits and gets involved, we can only pump up that number. And that is what it's going to take in order to win in this fall's campaign. So what is it that you can do? You can bring on more organizers, you can grow our campaign base, you can expand our canvassing efforts, and all of that is going to equate to winning in November. So here's a list of the locations where we're canvassing out of. Sarah and Kip's home, you know, you want to take out your phone and scan that QR code. Mark Teal has offered his home and we'll be canvassing out. There's another QR code for that. There's the volunteer leaders to sign up form if you want to get just more information about the campaign. And I am so excited now to introduce a great transition into what the campaign is going to be doing here in Arlington, our wonderful joint campaign co-chairs, Austin Locke, Yent Mew, and Ken. I believe Austin. Thanks,
Thank you, Paul. Good evening, Arlington Democrats. How are we doing? How are we feeling? I don't know about you guys, but I am incredibly pumped for our ticket. And now our joint campaign, we get to do our best work. So next slide, please. All right, what is the Joint Campaign Committee, the JCC? There's a lot of words here. I'll let you guys just check your eyes real quick. I'll move out of the way. Cover your right eye. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Pretty much the joint campaign is our goal is to get our Democratic ticket elected in November. That is our job. And we have 3 big things we have to do. Grip cards and promos, field and canvassing, and then the gold card, which is our events, and fundraising. Those are our 3 big tasks. Next slide, please. And as Paul mentioned, this is our committee. Let's give Austin a round of applause, please. The last time I was a joint campaign co-chair was 2009. And back then, think back to 2009, everybody, I was still a young Democrat. So we are so excited and privileged to have 2 young Democrats on our joint campaign. Next slide, please. Okay, here's a picture. You can't see it so bright, but we had our kickoff party this past Sunday at headquarters, and we will be meeting on Sundays, every Sunday at 6 p.m. We're going to be alternating in person and virtual, and we would love to have you there. We had a great turnout. Yes, we had food. Yes, we had beverages, adult and non-adult, because we want to make sure we're having a good time while we're doing great work. Next slide, please. All right, so next up, I'm going to have Yit come up and talk about our grip card and our promos. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Hey, it's so good to see all of you. It's a privilege and a joy to chair the JCC again this year. So this is I just wanted to present the draft of the group card that we have that's going. Obviously, we're still waiting on some information for the back of the group card, voting information for the election board to decide. That'll be, but this is going to be the piece of literature group card that all of our canvassers and our volunteers will be carrying. The purpose of this group card is to tell the voter who our ticket is from the school board to the governor's mansion, right? So we got Mo for school board, Takis for county board. We got our 3 House of Delegates candidates, Patrick Pova, Del McClure, Alfonso Lopez, and of course, Ghazala Hashmi for Lieutenant Governor, Jay Jones for Attorney General, and Abigail Sandberger for Governor. So this piece of information is intended to convey our entire ticket and to give the voters the necessary information that they need to vote. So the goal of this group card is to be a piece of literature that they probably stick on their fridge or something like that, so that they can keep it handy. Our canvassers will also be carrying other specific literature as well, other candidate literature. They'll be carrying Spamager Lit, probably Takis Lit, and all that. That tells them who the candidates are, what their policies are, and all that. So that's why that information is not included on here. This is more of a who's our ticket, how can you go vote? All right, next slide. Field program, Austin.
Hey, everybody. So our field program, quick question. Who here canvassed last year as part of the joint campaign or part of the Harris campaign? Okay, so this will be really familiar. Our canvassing program is basically going to be run through the Spamberger campaign. So if you scan this QR code, you can sign up for the canvas launches that Paul showed earlier, taking place at Sarah and Kip's house, taking place at Mark Teal's house. And as we get closer to election day, we're gonna have up to 7 canvas launches, locations in Arlington each weekend. So just scan this QR code, you'll be able to find all that information there. Another thing that we do each year is we drop off messengers at every single family home in Arlington. For those of you keeping score at home, that's about 61,000 doors. We need folks to sign up and take messenger routes where you basically, have a bag full of literature, walk door to door, drop it off. No real conversation at the door unless somebody happens to be outside their house and you can explain. But our messenger is kind of the persuasion piece as to why you should vote up and down the ticket from Governor's Mansion to Schoolhouse. So we'll be recruiting and working with precinct ops later this year to make sure we have enough people there. And then the other component that we'll be doing mainly with Beyond Arlington is our phone banking and canvassing out of district. We don't necessarily handle the canvassing part, but if you were more interested in doing phone banking, the Beyond Arlington team will help you with that. So here in Arlington, we're mainly doing door-to-door canvassing through the Spamberger campaign. And then the Arlington Democrats are coordinating the messenger drop-offs to the 60,000 homes. And then one other caveat is if you live in a multi-unit building, we're talking about anything with more than 3 units. So everything from a high-rise to triplex, quadplex. Let us know what building that is and if you're willing to let us in. A lot of these multi-unit buildings restrict access and we can't get in and drop off messengers. And if we're able to put a messenger at those doors, it saves us from having to physically mail one, which reduces how much money we have to spend overall. So if you live in a large multi-unit building, reach out, let us know, and we can get that over to precinct ops and they can add that to our messenger route. Next slide.
So I get to talk about money. Imagine that, Commissioner Rickett, let's talk about money, shall we? Who knows what the price of the stamp is today? I honestly don't know, so someone tell me. How much? 73 cents for a stamp. Oh my goodness, 78 on July 13th. I'm gonna buy my stamps tomorrow. Thank you, Carol. Oh my goodness. Okay, so bottom line is mailing costs money. Printing costs money. And we want to make sure, like Austin and you have said, that we are communicating and we are communicating thoroughly. So our fundraiser is the Gold Card. This is your ticket to 4 events. Mark your calendars. Here we go. Chili Cook-Off, September 1st. Jessie Ojeda is leading this up. Jessie over here, we're going to talk. Yes, give her a round of applause. This is not an easy undertaking. Gabe is not here today, but Gabe ran it for the past 5 years. So let's give him a round of applause, please. Mark your calendars, September 21st, honoring a distinguished Democrat. It's still a secret. And it will be at the home of Carla De La Cava. If you've ever been to her home, it is beautiful. So please get excited for that. Then October 4th is an Oktoberfest with Arlington Young Democrats. And October 18th, we have the Golden Gala. So you can go ahead and purchase, I think the email went out earlier today, is that correct? You can start purchasing your Gold Card today. Few things. We have lowered the price of the Gold Card since the past few years. We want to make, yay! That's the good news. The challenging news, and we will always rise to the occasion, is we now have to sell more Gold Cards. So our number, and I'm gonna get a thermometer out for us later, not today, is 175 tickets. And here's the thing, you can buy a Gold Card for yourself, but also if you are financially able, Jessie had this great idea that you can also purchase a ticket for someone else. For a federal worker, for a young Democrat, for someone who would really enjoy being at the events, but may not have the pocketbook change right now to do so. So take a look at that email. This is a great opportunity because we want to hit that 175 number. Just to let you know, to set expectations, I don't think we've got it over 140 in a few years. So 175. Do you think we can do it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes? Yes? Who's gonna buy a Gold Card? Come on, come on. All right, well, we're gonna get you. All right, excellent. Next up, we've talked about Roosevelt Obama Society, but I'm going to turn it over back to Yint to talk about Dollars for Democrats.
Thank you. Before I go to Chili Cook-Off, this is a announcement from our very own Carol Burnett, who has been running Dollar for Dems for as long as I remember. So Dollars for Dems needs 5 more volunteers to help hand addressing envelopes for the mailing. Envelopes are in batches of 100, and you can pick them up tonight in the back of the room from Carol, right over there. Hand addressing the envelopes shouldn't take you more than 2 hours. We just need you to bring them back to us at the August meeting at Innovation School. So just need 5 volunteers. Carol's over there. Thank you. And next slide. And last thing is our first gold card event is, as usual, our Labor Day Chili Cook-Off, which is happening on Labor Day in September. Jessie is leading the event and she is in need of a lot of volunteers. So if you've been to the Chili Cook-Off, you know that there's lots of setup and cleanup involved because we want to leave the community center spotless. So if you have any time during the day, and would love to volunteer, please sign up or go talk to Jessie over there. All right, thanks. Next slide. All right, final thing, we're just gonna close up. Thank you all so much. You'll see us a lot more as the months progress. Like Sam mentioned, Arlington is critical to our statewide results, and it is our job to make sure that every single last Democratic vote here in this county goes out and vote. And we cannot do it alone. Arlington is blue because we make it blue. All right, so can't wait to work with all of you, and thank you all so much.
All right, that's me. I'm I'm pinch running tonight. So Brian Coleman would usually deliver this update, but he got called out on an emergency. Next slide. So we are looking for an Equality Caucus chair. We're also looking for leadership in the Disabilities Caucus. Next slide. Disabilities Caucus has on July 20th, their ADA anniversary meeting on Zoom. I'll also acknowledge that last night we had an absolutely terrific event, Eid Interfaith Celebration led by our own Fatima Argun. It was absolutely outstanding. A really thoughtful and meaningful panel that included our very own JD Spain. I love Eid because Eid is one of those holidays that really forces us to reflect. It is a holiday in Jewish, Christian, and Muslim traditions that is celebrated between the 3 faiths. And so wonderful to come together and reflect on where we are as a country. And just a wonderful moment to bring everybody together. And thank you for your leadership with that event. I would like to welcome you on Tanya Talento to talk about the Latino Caucus social that's coming up.
Good evening, fellow Democrats. How are y'all doing tonight? I wish I could let's get fired up, but I'm so pissed about what's happening on the Hill right now that we're just gonna ignore the fired up. We're gonna focus on what we can do right here and right now. The Latino Caucus has been doing socials. We started doing them last year. Just a little bit about for those maybe new to our Latino Caucus socials. We're really trying to build our community to show Latinos where they can come and meet with fellow Democrats, learn about the party, learn about how to get involved. So this year we're having our first summer social, July 22nd at Café Sazón, the Latino-owned business on Columbia Pike. We would love for you to join us. We are also so excited to announce that I think we're getting a volunteer coordinator for the Latino Caucus, which is great because we've been able to engage a few bilingual volunteers who want to figure out how to support the Dems while also supporting the Latino Democratic community. So we're hoping to get that organized and see how we can coordinate with the campaigns happening this fall. So we'll be working with the LJCC committee. Wish us luck. I think we're hoping to engage that energy. But I just want to make sure that you all knew you were invited to join us. Our goal is to build community. I would like to in the future talk with the chair about doing a presentation on the Latino vote so you guys can understand what's been happening. And I want to reiterate that the Republicans are still investing money in targeted messaging to Latino community. And we need to figure out how to combat that. And I'm not sure how we're doing it at the at our party levels above local. We can start at the local. And so that's our goal, is to build our community, really try to share messaging with our community that relates to what they're experiencing on their day lives. And helping them understand how our party is a party for the Latino community and for rising all people to have a great life in this great country that is currently being destroyed. And I think we can fight back, and I think we can get it back, and I think we can fix it. And so I'm looking forward to working with you all this year to do that with all my fellow Dem leaders, and I just wanted to personally invite you all to join us on July 22nd at Mesa Summit. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tanya. Next slide. Oh, I'm sorry, I just saw the other bullet. Please put any donated food items in the bag for our food assistance drive. We have an upcoming fundraiser and a very crucial house race, HD 82. Blackhawks of Nova are hosting a fundraiser for Kimberly Hope Adams on July 27th. Please scan that QR code or look for it in your email. We're absolutely would be tremendously excited if you can come out and join us. Here's some pictures from last night's wonderful Eid celebration. Next slide. And now I'd like to welcome up Josh Kapowitz of Blue Families.
So, Blue Families, we are, now that the primaries are over, we are proud to announce that just earlier today, we got a bunch of addresses for House of Delegates candidates. We need to obviously defend everyone, but we have up to 10 seats that we can flip. And so we've adopted 4 of them already. They're listed down there. You can sign up if you go to the QR code, or I think it's on the website, but you can email me and sign up for some postcards. We're also hoping, I don't know if Sarah's here, but we're going to be doing precinct-based postcard parties similar to what we did last year. So hopefully, if you're a precinct captain, you can help host one of those parties. I was just at the Women's Summit this weekend and talked to a bunch of people who have all this data about how postcards really do work, notwithstanding the 2024 election results. They are making a difference, so let's crank out as many of them as we can. And then our potluck picnic date is set for Sunday, September 21st. There's a 50-50 chance that we'll get Abigail Spanberger there, but hopefully we'll get at least some other folks on the ticket. And maybe some of our swing House of Delegates candidates as well to rally us for the final push. And we are going to, hopefully starting in August, we're going to start doing canvassing trips in collaboration with Beyond Arlington. But we'd like to put a social spin on that to make them family friendly and just generally super fun to attend. And there are a lot of swing districts within like an hour and a half drive of Arlington. We could go out and canvass, get lunch together, just generally have a good time. So that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. All right, now we're going to welcome up Rachel Halpern for Precinct Ops.
Hi, I'm just subbing for Sarah again. So we're now at the interactive portion of the meeting, because we've got three new folks in precinct ops that are gonna need a vote from you all to approve. We have a new area chair, Tim Aiken, for 4 Mile, to join me as the co-chair for that. A new precinct captain for Wakefield, Matthew Collins, and a new precinct leader, Annette Scheffler in 4 Mile precinct. So is there a motion to? Is there a second? Second. All right, any discussion? We're going to debate these folks. All right. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, they're in. Thank you. That's if you too would like to hear your name called out at a Arlington Dems monthly meeting and be voted on, we need precinct captains in a bunch of different places. So please, so you can talk with me or with Fran, who's here tonight, if you're interested in being a precinct captain. Next slide. So thanks to everybody who helped us greet voters on primary day at all the different polling places. I think it looks like we don't have an exact count yet, but I think we've got somewhere around 400 new volunteers. And we are, and again, message to all the precinct captains, we're getting all these folks into the van. We'll have new volunteer lists for you soon.
Okay.
Next slide. We also, at increasing operations, we also have a big time to read and discuss books. The book for the next book club, actually that's a picture from last time, but the book for this month that we'll be discussing on August 5th is called The Ministry of Time. So it sounds like it's pretty good science fiction time travel type thing. Anyway, all the book club meeting dates are unmobilized. You can go to the next one. Oh, and here's all the books that we're going to be discussing, so you can put them on hold at the library. And finally, Precinct Ops has been helping organize voter registration events. We now have a whole schedule for the rest of the summer and for the fall at many of the different farmers markets. In addition, and of course, there's also a crew that runs a weekly event at the Courthouse Farmers Market. So each of these events is on Mobilize, has its own sign up on Mobilize. Too many QR codes to list here, but that QR code will take you to the Jones Mobilize page. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Rachel, and I think that was also the voter support update, our voter registration update. So we are gonna move to Arlington Young Democrat. Lots and lot, back up right.
Yeah, back again. I'll get it back. Normally, you'd expect Brian Atkins, but next slide. Brian's currently on a vacation in the Mediterranean. This is a totally real photo that I did not use AI to make. Look, Brian totally earned this vacation after doing the CD11 election, running AYD all year, and having our AYD fundraiser. Which, speaking of our fundraiser, next slide is kind of wanted to spike the football for a minute. The fundraiser we had for Lily Franklin was the largest candidate fundraiser AYD has ever had. And being what turned into that from this crazy idea Brian and I had back in March. Because we're both from the rural parts of America. Brian's from Fluvanna County, I'm from Alabama. And we decided to team up to help a rural candidate. And we had the help of our amazing officers, Caitlin Doyle, Jesse Ojeda, Gabe Lynn helped put this on, but we also had a fantastic venue. The owner of the Arlington Treehouse not only opened his home for us, but he provided an open bar to help loosen wallets and a fully catered buffet, which resulted in 74 tickets being sold and us quietly having to double check and make sure we weren't seeing fire marshal capacity. But next slide is, that was part of our development plan. So back in March, we all went to convention to get trained up. Last week, we had a fundraiser for Lily Franklin to help support candidates. And now we're in phase 3 of our development plan, which is the 3 C's: call, canvas, and campaign. And the reason why I bring up our development plan, to quote Bernie Sanders, is we're once again asking for your financial support. We are launching the AYD Action Fund to help pay for the 3 C's. As many of you know, there are swing districts all throughout the state. There are places beyond just Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania that are swing districts. We've got to go all the way down to South Richmond, to Virginia Beach, to Blacksburg. But Brian and I are very good at finance, and we have worked out basically a plan to send canvassers there for the entire weekend at $65 a person. That includes gas to get them down there, meals to keep them fed, and a hotel. So if you can scan this QR code and help us fund it, we're trying to raise $2,500 to fund all of our campaign operations, with the ultimate goal being to win the annual VAYD campaign competition. 2 years ago, we came in 2nd place. Last year, we came in 3rd place. And this year, we've decided we're not only going to win the damn thing, we're going to win it by a large margin. But to do that, we need your financial support. So scan the QR code. Don't worry if you haven't scanned it yet, it'll be back in a second. But we also have a couple of events going on this month. The first of which is our annual national convention taking place in Philadelphia. We are sending 7 members total, 3 voting members and 4 observers to get some tips and tricks to bring it back here, but also to have an influence on the platform for things moving forward. We saw a massive seismic shift in the Democratic Party up in New York City. And YDA is our way to kind of recharge, determine what issues we want to advocate for, but connecting with voters, because as we saw in New York City, the largest voting bloc by far were young Democrats. Basically 18 to 35 was the largest voting bloc in New York this year, so we're going to take some of that energy, bring it back here. Our next couple of events, I want to start off by making it clear, they are open to everyone. Just because we have young Democrats in our name doesn't mean we cut off the ability for you guys to come hang out with us. And I mentioned that specifically because we are going to be at the Continental Pool Hall on the 22nd. I personally love pool, and I'm from Alabama, so that kind of tracks. But there's also a lot of other great things to do there as well. So come on out and join us at 6:30 on the 22nd. Our next event is we decided to go a little bit outside of Arlington, but for a good reason. We're gonna go watch the movies at the Library of Congress, and not just any movie, but the classic movie, The Goonies. So follow us on our Mobilize page to get more information regarding where to meet up, to go out to that, because the movie starts at 8 p.m. And our final event is our general body meeting. One of the things Brian and I have been quietly working on in the background, along with Kate Boyle, Meg Flores, and Gabe Lynn, is revamping our constitution. Making it more streamlined, making sure that we can be basically more reactive to things that are changing within the Democratic Party, but also to make us more available to people. So we're doing things like no longer itemizing exactly how much it costs to join AYD, because at a time like this, we need to be expanding our party, so we need to have additional flexibility. We are welcoming anyone to this. Any outside ideas are welcome, so join us at Aurora Hills Library to provide your feedback and make sure that the Constitution is as good as possible. And then the last slide, once again, I told you it was coming back. It's the QR code for the Action Fund. I'm a shameless fundraiser. It's going to keep coming up every single time so we can win the campaign competition. But with that, that's all I got. Steve, that's the mission.
All right, now we're gonna bring up Rose Fabia from Beyond Arlington.
Happy confession, Kip did all the work, I'm just here to fill in. Anyways, this is very quick. He just wants to point out in this first graph that it was very close. You go on average for the 2021 and 2024 elections, that the average was about 25 votes per precinct. And so, yeah, we lost to Youngkin, but it was, if you do a across the board, it's doable that we can get the governor and the lieutenant governor and the attorney general race back. Next slide. Over here, you do the next slide. I think there's like post-it notes. Keep going. Keep going. Just keep going. All these post-it notes represents the races. We want to go back to these post-it notes. There we go. All those races in yellow represent all the delegates that won their primary we feel are fillable. Because of the fact that Kamala Harris won that race, or was a very race when Youngkin won, that it looks really good from our point of view, and from Delegate Dan Hilmer was the chair of the House races. And the blue ones, 21, 65, and 97, those represent the ones who are in close races like Josh Cole, Josh Thomas, and a few others, where we feel they can keep their seats in this time of division. Next slide. Okay, and this basically is a list of all the races, the percentages, how close they really were. I mean, of course, we always bring it up, but we're gonna bring it up again. Kimberly Pope Adams lost her race by 78 votes. And she's in Peterson. And she has been raising a lot of money these days. We're very enthusiastic about that race. And the other one is Lily Franklin. I think she lost her race by 183 votes. And she's doing fantastic. One of the great things about those two races is they're running again. And so they understand what they need to do to win, the lessons learned, they now have that experience. And I think we're feeling really good about those two races. And the rest are all the other ones who are now the official candidates after the primary. Next. We have Josh Cole again for Fredericksburg. He's always been such a winner, and we think that he's gonna do very well, as well as Darius Clark, Mike Hagan, and Josh Thomas. They've always ran good races and they've come through. Offense. We have new candidates. We have May Navarre. She's a brand new candidate. She's Asian American and she's in the RICO section. She's got a lot of support from the Asian American group, and I think there's even a fundraiser coming up for her.
Yeah, fundraiser on the 23rd.
The 12th. Okay. And the next one is Kimberly Pope Adams. Like I said, 78 votes. She's also the fundraiser with the Black Caucus. I think she's great. I think she's a CPA. She's run again. She was also in the Northam campaign as an auditor. And she lives in Petersburg with most of her life. Her son was raised there. She knows Petersburg, I mean. And then we have Leslie Maida in Chesterfield. Next. And of course, Stacy, Annie, Carol. I don't know if you guys know Stacy and Annie Carroll. There was a fundraiser by WOFA. I like to say there are 4 things about her. I think three things about her that are so impressive. 19 years as the National Guard. She's a CPA auditor. And she has fostered over 20 kids in her lifetime. And she's always asked for teenagers. And Ryan Coleman and I went down there to do some canvassing, and about 3 of the kids were fosters. They were helping out with the campaign, and called them off. So I thought it was very sweet. Okay, we have Elizabeth Guzman. She's coming back. She's basically a veteran of the General Assembly. She's sponsored over 100 bills in environment and union. And she's a strong candidate. She really knows what she's doing. She's very successful. I'm excited about it. In fact, I want to canvass for her this weekend. And maybe another weekend, maybe another weekend. I mean, I just think she's terrific. Next. Oh, Lily Franklin. I'm excited about all these guys. Lily Franklin is fantastic. She went to Virginia Tech. She's from that area. She barely lost 583 votes. She's doing really well. She's raising a lot of money, and she's got a really good campaign staff. Jackson Covey is her campaign manager. He was the field director for Dan Helmer before that. He was the field director for Adele McClure. He's got plenty of experience. I think he's going to do well for her. Next. And I want to mention one more person that's not on there, and that's John McAuliffe. John McAuliffe is the only Republican left in Loudoun County as a state elected official. Everyone else is a Democrat. I think it's time to make that whole place blue. And Joe, he's got great credentials. He was chief of staff to David Reed, who was a delegate, and he also was in the Biden administration. Defense. Oh, Josh Thomas. Like I said, he's a good candidate. He's solid. He's a veteran. He's done extremely well with his campaign. I can't see him lose. I mean, he was a natural the first time. I think he'll win again. I mean, I remember the first time he ran, we were canvassing for him, and he looked to Danica Roem because that was Danica Roem's seat. She was now state senate. She really helped him a lot and how to win that district. Yes. Josh Cole. What can I say about Josh Cole? He's a fighter. He's just a genuine nice guy. He knows how to campaign and he knows that area. This is his 3rd time running, and I think he's going to run again. I mean, I think they did do redrawing the lines, so more Democratic friendly. Fagan's from Virginia Beach. He's a veteran and was also a delegate at the convention. He's got He's very successful, he knows the area, he was a first-time candidate and he won extremely well for a very tough area, and I think he's gonna do well with again. Next, anyways, I think we're gonna have a good time, I think a lot of things that are on our way, I think the big bill will be to our favor. I do have to tell you a story from way back when. When Abigail Spanberger ran for her first term as Congress, I went down with Steve, a number of times to Chesterfield and Henrico. There was one time they gave me 60 doors at a public housing complex. I knocked on doors, no, knocked another door, nobody home, knocked another door. Nothing. It was like one door after another. I had 0 results. And I said, damn it, this last door, I'm gonna take that door. So I knocked on the door. It's 2 in the afternoon. And this huge man was like twice my size, everybody's twice my size. But anyways, he's huge, tall. And he just, I think I woke him up from his nap. And he opened the door and he said, what the hell are you doing here? And I said, well, I'm here because Abigail Spanberger is running for a campaign. According to my records, you're not registered to vote. He goes, I don't vote. I go, you don't vote? Why not? He says, I don't care. They're all the same. And he's a Hispanic, probably in his 40s man. And I said, when I looked at him, I said, what do you think of the guy in the White House named Trump? And he said, I can't stand him. I hate him. I wish he'd go to hell. I said, well, if you vote for Abigail Spanberger, that's one more thorn to his side because she'll be a Democratic candidate, Democratic congresswoman. He says, and I go, you are doing something positive when you vote for Abigail Spanberger that will make him mad. And he says, what do I need to do? Because you have to register. So he registered. And I'm hoping he voted because he says, I'll do whatever I need to do. If she's gonna be somebody that's gonna give him a hard time, I go, she's pretty feisty. So I think we can turn around and do her, the same thing as governor, that same speech. This is a governor, we're gonna show that White House that we're gonna stand up to him with Abigail Spanberger, Ghazala Hashmi, and Jane Jenkins, and our 100 delegates. But I feel positive about this. So our reason, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Rose. That's it for our program tonight. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. If you haven't canvassed, please get out there this weekend. Check our events on Mobilize. We've had a really great time knocking on doors, talking to voters about the issues, talking to infrequent voters. It's great work, and your help is just so important to our success in November. So thanks, everyone, for being here tonight. Look forward to working with you throughout the summer. Thanks.